Good morning, Flosstube. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle, and it is Tuesday, October 20th, 2020. Halloween is just around the corner, but there is still plenty of time to do stuff, and I have been doing stuff. Not quite as much as I had hoped to do, but more than I thought I could do. It's been a better month than I thought it would be. So first whip is Broom Sale. It's a Mill Hill kit from 2001. I'm making progress. I'm telling myself to work an hour a day on it on days that I stitch, and I will be honest, I love looking at the shop samples of finished Mill Hill kits. I love watching the kits Calico is doing and everyone else is doing, and the ads in the magazines make me swoon and want to buy all the kits. The reality is I am not loving this perforated paper. It's not my thing. And we don't all have to love the same thing, so this and the National Park Santa ornament kit that I already own, they should be my last Mill Hill kits. Except for, I have a bunch of the little tiny pins that I got at an estate sale for like 17 cents each. Something will happen to those. And I mean, it's cute. It's not as cute as the new Mill Hill kits, but it's cute. I'm making progress. Do I have to do all of the DMC stitching before I move to the beading? Because if I could put these stars here, it would really help me with the placement of the signs and the witch and everything else. So someone who knows about these, tell me if I have to save the beads for last. It seems like I heard someone say that. And I am still working on Morning Lake. I am loving Morning Lake. It's a Dimensions Gold Petites kit, and I wish they had more landscapes in these kits currently available, because this little full coverage 18 count, I don't deeply love stitching with 6 strands of black and a half stitch, but oh my gosh, this is my thing. This is the cross stitching that I want to do and that makes my heart go pity pat. And yeah, I have some other landscapes in my stash, and I've got big landscapes in my stash, and I will always be stitching landscapes. I need to do the back stitching on the cabin instead of leaving that till the end, because that's where I'm going to get hung up if I don't work on it now. I am also stitching on my little headless horseman. He is Sleepy Hollow from Ghost Rocket Studio, which is a brand new Etsy shop. I wanted to stitch an itty bitty headless horseman. I spent like 2 days searching for cross stitch headless horseman and pixel art headless horseman and perler bead headless horseman. And then I found this one, and it just, I think this is 18 count. I don't know if I'm going to finish it in the hoop. I'm not stitching it in the hoop. I just stuck it in there so it would look cute while I held it up for my Flosstube update. I like this. There's going to be a moon and some clouds there and some pumpkins and some pumpkins. And this is some of that fabric that I dyed a couple of weeks ago. I'm loving the fabric. It is just opening up possibilities. And the Toffee Socks. It's Lion Brand Sock Ease Toffee. And I mean, they're really not Halloween colors, but they feel like very dark and stormy night trick-or-treating sort of socks. I had been very burned out on knitting socks, and I've probably put 2 socks worth of stitching knitting into that basket weave shawl I'm making, which I still love, but I needed a change of pace. I needed something different. And I have noticed with my knitting, if I switch projects to something with different size needles, it really gives my hands a break. So the socks are coming along, and that is making me happy. And then I started another new thing. This shows you nothing. It is the 100 Owl Sal from Owl Forest Embroidery. And I bought the floss. I told you that already. I yesterday screwed up my courage and started stitching. And this is the fabric that I dyed. Same time I dyed the Headless Horseman fabric. I am loving this. I am loving the idea that this frees me up from only working on white or black or ivory or what is at the craft store, it just opens up a bunch of possibilities. And I mean, I put in blue dye and I aimed for not white. I like what I came out with. It wasn't deliberate. I didn't know what I was going to come out with. I mean, I knew I was going to come out with something blue that if it didn't work for this, it would work for something. I'm very much a do-it-myself if I can kind of person. I do not send my quilts out to be professionally long-armed. I don't send things out to be framed, with one exception that backfired spectacularly. And that is not to discount the talent of the long-arm quilters or the framers. It's just a combination of, that's not in my budget, and if I'm going to spend that much money, I want to be the one in control of my results. And so far it has worked for me. It means that I don't have pieces professionally framed to hang on my wall. It means that at this point in time, long arm quilting is spectacularly expensive, but that is because the long arm quilters, you are paying for hundreds of hours of practice and skill building. And I can do on my little domestic machine or my mom's long arm, I feel as good as the type of long arm quilting that I could afford to pay for. So I'm very much I will do it myself when I can, because that fits my budget and it fits what I want. And I love that I can make fabric a different color. Now, that does not mean that I am not going to one of these days splurge and buy the perfect piece of hand-dyed fabric for a project, because I totally will. I just haven't found that project and that fabric yet. It means that I know that I cannot buy hand-dyed fabric for every project, or fancy fabric and flosses for every project. And I absolutely cannot do the thing where you buy a piece of fabric and it comes in the mail and it's not the color you expected, so you buy 3 more pieces of fabric, because that's not in my life. And I am not, if that is how you do things, I'm happy for you. Do your things, but that's not what I can do. Part of how I'm able to make room for the occasional big splurges is that I'm selective in my spending in other ways. I shop and plan our meals around whatever meat is the loss leader at Safeway or Winco that week. We shop at a salvage grocery because their granola bars with dented boxes are way cheaper than granola bars at Safeway, and my kids do not care what brand of granola bars they're eating. They have preferences, but they're not really narrow preferences. And I have 2 teenage sons and a 20-year-old son. So basically I am feeding 5 adults, and my grocery bill is kind of spectacular. It's not that bad. I have cut it down over the past couple years and I do well, but I do not do nearly as well as my daughter. She has become the coupon queen. I do my watching my sales and going to the bread outlet and being careful what stores I shop at. She is using all the apps and all the coupons and getting all the rebates, and she has a brand new YouTube channel. It's called Let's Get Thrifty. And she has been posting, it's only a week old. She has a beauty channel that she's had for years, but this is her new thing, and she has been posting how she got $80 worth of groceries for 32 cents. It boggles my mind. I don't have the patience. But if that is something that you are into, I'll put her link in the description below, and it's neat. I just cannot quite figure it out. And that's with her going to the grocery store with me and holding my hand. But it's another way that you could maybe make room in the budget for some of these splurges. And that fits in with my whole haunting the thrift shops, doing what I do. I just don't do it quite the way she does it. And that's only going to apply to shoppers in the United States. I don't know if other countries have the same couponing apps and things. I hope you do. So regular life update, as of Friday, I have a car. And this is super exciting. If you're not familiar with my car situation, I was driving our 2007 Honda Odyssey minivan until late one night in March when I was coming home from dropping my son off at work, and there were 2 deer in the lane, and that was the end of the deer and the end of the front end of my minivan. But it was okay because my daughter had left her 2001 Subaru Forester parked by the barn, because instead of getting $300 for it as a trade-in, she decided to give it back to us so that once her brother starts driving, he could drive it. So I've been driving that for 6 months, but it's a very old car, and it finally decided that it could not go 6 miles without overheating badly, and my husband decided that it was not in anybody's best interest for me to keep driving it until the head gasket did spectacularly blow, so I was carless. Now I have a new car, new to me car. It is 5 years old, but oh my gosh, the technology has changed from 2007 to 2015. And it has room in the back for things from the thrift store, and it's got leg room in the back for teenage boys, and it starts and it doesn't overheat, and I have air conditioning for the first time in 6 years, which I can live without air conditioning. I can't live without being able to easily defrost my windows when it rains or unfog my windows. So this is a huge life-changing thing, and I could drive to Acorns without stressing out over whether the car is going to make it, and I could go thrifting in Eugene, except global pandemic, so I'm sitting here at home being glad that I have a car that I can go somewhere when things change and I can go somewhere. I have been really rambly this morning, so if this is choppy, it's because I've cut out the parts where I talked way too much and reinserted shorter versions. I have got a new sampler I want to start because the acceptance sampler was so much fun, and I found another one that just totally fits my mood right now. I need to find some fabric and floss before I pay for and download the pattern. I've got new socks that I want to knit because it is getting colder and colder at night, and my farmhouse is old and drafty, and worsted weight yarn is fun to knit socks with. Not for hiking or anything like that, but for sitting on the couch watching Flosstube. They're going to be perfect if I can find the needles that I need to use for those. Thank you for watching. I am Michelle. This is my romantic tangle, and I'll be back with you again very soon.